I have never had any long gun training in my life. I own an AR-15, and last time I shot it one time my whole life. It was 6 years ago. That is until Saturday, where we recreated the events in Savoy, Texas. We recreated what happened in Butler. I was lying prone on a sloped roof at 130 yards at 6:30 at night. And I knew that he had a scope. I didn't know what kind, red dot or magnified. So I shot 8 rounds from both. You know what the result was? 15 out of 16 kill shots. And the one I missed would have hit the president's ear. That's a 94% success rate. And that shooter was a better shot than me. It is a miracle President Trump wasn't killed. Corey Comparator's life is over because that damn shooter made it on the roof. And it wasn't the roof that was dangerous. It was a nut job on top of the roof. You know what else is dangerous? I believe your horrifying ineptitude and your lack of skilled leadership is a disgrace. Your obfuscating today is shameful. And you should be fired immediately and go back to Garden Doritos. Mr. Chairman, I'll yield back.
Garden Doritos, she was the head of security for PepsiCo for 5 years after she left Secret Service, only to come back and head it thanks to Nurse Jill Biden picking her.
20 minutes before the shooting began, the state police informed the Secret Service of their concern. Now, the rally was not paused at that point, correct?
No.
Just 2 minutes later, at 5:53 p.m., the Secret Service notified its snipers about the gunman. The rally wasn't paused at that point either, correct?
No.
Ma'am, that doesn't look like suspicious behavior. That looks like threatening behavior to me. And the rally wasn't paused at that point either, correct?
The moment that the shift surrounding the president were aware of an actual threat.
That's a threat right there. The guy's on the roof and everybody's yelling at him.
Yes.
Director Cheatle, yes or no? Was there ever a moment where the Secret Service actually considered pausing the rally?
Would have paused the rally had they known or been.
So the answer is no.
It was an actual threat.
Correct?
I can speak to you in generalities.
No, I don't want generalities. I want specifics.
Of the communications.
The answer is no. You did not consider pausing the rally, correct?
If there was a threat that had been identified.
Well, they did, because we've now identified 3 points in the 20 minutes before the shooting.
This woman obviously doesn't know her rump from a hole in the ground. She doesn't know anything about protecting and guarding people because, or at least I should say this, she doesn't know anything about running an organization and protecting and guarding people as the head of it or in any supervisory position. I wouldn't want her to be a Secret Service agent as an individual Secret Service agent, would you? The woman has no information. She has no timeline. She has no information about why the threat wasn't stopped. She has no answers. She is so inept and incompetent that there's not one Democrat that supports her. There's not one Republican that supports her. Jared Moskowitz, Democrat from Florida, likened her performance to that of the leaders of the elite universities who in a December House meeting were eventually fired because they were so incompetent about that, refusing to denounce Jew hatred, anti-Semitism. He asked her, "Did you see that hearing?" He says, "Let me tell you, it didn't go well. The short end of the story was those university professors all resigned. They're gone. That's how it's going for you." And yet she still has not resigned. Isn't that amazing? I think that Joe Biden's not going to fire her. And I think because the guy, he doesn't know what's going on, and his wife loves her. So they're going to give her a golden parachute. She's going to be around for 6 more months. This is incredible. Meanwhile, President Trump can't defend himself. He can't feel safe, but he's still going to go out there and do things. I have a piece of audio from the Jesse Waters interview that aired earlier tonight with Trump and J.D. Vance. Here it is about the stretcher and they tried to put him on a stretcher. He argued with him while he was they were on top of him and he was covered up and he had blood dripping down his face. In that picture we saw of him when they were all covered up on him, protecting him.
Well, they wanted to put me on a stretcher. They had a stretcher and they wanted to put me on a stretcher. And I said, I'm not going on a stretcher because I just felt it was the ear. And there was a lot of blood coming. I don't know if you've heard this, but the ear causes, they say, the most in the body. You get hit in the ear. Better than just about any other place in one way, but in another way it bleeds more.
I'll play the rest of that in a minute, but do you trust Kimberly Cheatle, the Secret Service Director, to investigate herself and her team? Do you think heads will roll? Do you think her head should roll? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. It's astounding to me this woman still has a job. I have no idea why she's still there. The only reason why she's not there is because she hasn't resigned, like the Secret Service director did, who, after Ronald Reagan was shot, he resigned. Did you hear what I played it earlier? He asked her what happened after that. She said he stayed on. He goes, no, she resigned. She doesn't even know. I don't think she cares. Did you see her? Did she look like she cared? She didn't know what to do. They had a field day with her. No, I don't trust her to investigate herself and her team. That's a disgrace. That's a joke. I don't trust the pedo voice sounding Mayorkas. Alejandro Mayorkas with his pedo voice. Why hasn't he fired her? I know why he hasn't fired her, because this is Joe Biden, and they don't want to fire her. And as I mentioned, the Trump team did ask for reinforcements and more security, and they were denied. I heard Jason Miller. Jason Miller is, we follow each other on Twitter. He is a top Trump advisor in this campaign in 2020 and 2016. And today he was on Fox with Martha McCallum, and he didn't want to get into the details on security because that's not his purview. But he said, yes, there are published reports that have come out this weekend that says his team asked for more security, and it was denied. It's like it's almost like they let him get shot. It almost seems that way. Let him get shot. So it's hard to determine if it's gross incompetence or they wanted to get him shot. I don't think they wanted to get him shot, but it looks like it could be either way based on this ineptitude. And I'm glad the Democrats are coming out and condemning this just as much as Republicans are, because they understand this is not about a Republican. This is about anybody alive that they're supposed to protect being killed and being accessible to a bullet. And did you know they asked her about the slanted roof policy? Let me read to you what that testimony was. The Congressman Pat Fallon, who said, does the Secret Service have a written policy you can share with us about the sloped roofs? Remember, she said we couldn't put somebody up on there because the roof was sloped. And then we saw the other roof they were on was sloped more. And we see the White House's roof is sloped insanely higher. Do you have a written policy about sloped roofs? No, she said. So why did you act like there was one? She offered no reply. And then Congressman Fallon from Texas said, so here's the thing with slopes. You're saying there's a danger, a safety concern. That the problem is, Director, you put your counter snipers on a roof that was steeper, right behind where Trump was standing. These are nothing but pathetic excuses that make no sense, he said. All the law enforcement I've spoken to with the last 9 days are amazed the rooftop was not secured. Guess what else I saw today? I saw another congressman, everybody and their brothers going there now in the Congress, who went there, took video of, there was, the building the Secret Service was in? There's windows looking out. It was 2 stories. And it looked right over the roof where the guy shot from. It was right there. The freaking roof where the guy shot from is in front of their eyes. Like, the roof is 10, 15 feet away, and it's right in front of them. From the window they were looking out, supposedly. Did you see the guy doing it and say, let him get a few shots off, let him get 6 shots? He got 6 shots off. This is insane. She had no answers. No answers. I mean, it's like they're screaming loudly without saying it. Kill him, kill him, kill him. Why is she not resigning? This is insane. This is insane. They need to destroy her. They need to keep destroying this woman publicly until she resigned, or they need to impeach her, which I think they could do now. I think I might have a few more pieces of audio that I really wanted to play for you. Did I play the guarding Doritos one yet? I think I did, didn't I? Yeah, that was Rep. Fallon ripping her to shreds. Oh, Nancy Mace, Congresswoman from, I think, South Carolina, or was it North Carolina? Anyway, she ripped the crap out of her too.
You stated earlier, Secret Service is not political. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Would you say leaking your opening statement to Punchbowl News, Politico's playbook, and Washington Post several hours before you sent it to this committee as being political? Yes or no?
I have no idea how my statement got out.
Well, that's bullshit. So, Mr. Chairman, I would like to ask unanimous consent to enter into the record articles by Punchbowl News, Political Playbook, Washington Post, all done at 5:24 a.m., 6:12 a.m., 6:34 a.m., a solid 3 to 4 hours before this committee got your statement.
Without objection to order.
Okay, so there you go. If you want to chime in on the Secret Service director refusing to resign, having no answers on a timeline, having no answers for why things were the way they were, having no answers for why she said the route was too slow when there is no policy, no nothing on the slope, and they were on more of a steep slope at the same event, steep slope, I would love to hear from you at 800-288-9227. Chime in right now. Lines wide open, 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. Also coming up next, I have more information that's flying across the screen about a few things. Apparently, the Democrats, a new report coming out from the most published or the most subscribed to and read newspaper in America, second most, that says the Democrats actually threatened the 25th Amendment. The Democrats actually reportedly now tonight threatened the 25th Amendment to remove Joe. And then also there are a lot of things flying over the across the radar now about Joe Biden having possible serious health concerns tonight. I will share with you what those reports are saying and who's reporting it as well. But first, we'll go to Catherine in Fort Worth coming up next on the Chris Kroc Show on News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. We're hearing more and more about Joe Biden suffering some kind of an undisclosed medical emergency during his time in Las Vegas. I'll share that with you in just a second, but we're going to talk about the completely inept Kimberly Cheatle. Let's play quick highlights of that.
Were you guessing or lying when you said you didn't turn down requests from President Trump's detail?
Neither, sir, and I appreciate the question.
You're prepared to fire the people on the ground who made poor decisions that day.
I'm prepared to take the actions necessary.
No, that's nonsense.
The lack of answers and the lack of report is just simply not something that we can accept here.
Because Donald Trump is alive, and thank God he is, you look incompetent. If Donald Trump had been killed, you would have looked culpable.
You need to resign.
You're full of today. You're just being completely dishonest.
He should be fired immediately and go back to Garden Doritos.
That's my favorite one. PepsiCo owns Doritos, and she was in charge of guarding Doritos for 5 years. And let me tell you, the reports are she did a hell of a job protecting those Doritos. Oh my gosh, that's my favorite one of all time, isn't it? That's boom. No, but she needs to go, right? Should heads roll? Should her head roll? Do you have any confidence in Kimberly Cheatle, the head of the Secret Service, to investigate herself and her team? I have none in any of those, and she must go, like yesterday. Catherine in Fort Worth, you've called in at 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227, and I encourage you to chime in right now, too. Catherine, WBAP, hello.
Well, hello, and it's good to talk to you. I did not know till tonight that she guarded Doritos. That was the height of her career until she was running the Secret Service. I mean,
well, before that, she was a Secret Service agent for like 25 years, and Nurse Jill got real high on her because she guarded him in his vice presidency, and so Nurse Jill handpicked her. Because she she loves her, and also because she's rabid DEI, and so she said 30 by 30, you'll have 30% female agents by 2030, and there are no Amazon women in the Secret Service apparently, so none of them, they're like midgets compared to Trump, and therefore they cannot protect him.
Right, there's no way. Okay, that brings me to my other. You asked a couple of times tonight. Oh dear, I think I lost my train of thought again. You asked why was she not resigning? And a lot of those Congress people ask, why does she not see that she's going to have to resign, Mm-hmm. And I think totally, this is not rocket science, but I think that Dr. Jill is reassuring her behind the scenes.
Yes.
Look, my husband won't fire you.
And she's the real president. Unfortunately, she is the Eleanor.
She is.
She's the Eleanor Wilson, Mrs. Wilson, the president's wife. Woodrow Wilson's wife, who ran the presidency
and
for 16
Eleanor
months.
Roosevelt.
Yes.
she's Eleanor Roosevelt ran the country too, so both of them. But I know you're talking about because I listen to your show.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that Jill is reassuring her, telling her she has nothing to worry about. And I believe that that's why she's so self-assured, because she's had 9 days to get an answer. You could get you could get an answer in 24 hours. You don't need 9 days. So she should have one.
I agree. And why do you think she doesn't have it's Edith Wilson. I'm sorry, not Eleanor Wilson. So why do you think she doesn't have an answer then?
Well, I think they're covering up something.
Yes.
We don't know what it is
Yes.
yet, but obviously
no drones by the Secret Service, which is normal. No dogs, which is normal.
Right.
They knew
not enough agents.
No, they had none outside of the perimeter, and the perimeter didn't include 400 feet where there was a roof staring at the president's head.
I know, it's just beyond.
But yet they had Secret Service snipers supposedly in a building that was right next to the thing, overlooking the man on the roof. This is
what were they doing? Having a little dinner, or what?
They were roasted. They weren't there. They were guarding Cackling Kamala and Nurse Jill nearby Pittsburgh area.
Oh. Okay.
They woefully understaffed it, and they denied his request for more Secret Service. His campaign's request for more Secret Service.
Well, then they can say what they want to about, like one of the congressmen said something about her being culpable. If he had died, she wouldn't be off the hook. She'd be culpable. Well, you know what? They're all guilty. There's bound to be a law that covers them not taking the greatest pains to protect him. I just don't understand how you can just be lax and let him get killed and then say, oh, well, we didn't have enough agents. That's BS.
Yeah, this woman should be hunted down and fired, and should have happened already. Yeah, I appreciate your. There's not one Democrat supporting her. They were all ripping her tooth today. Just so you know, there wasn't one Democrat. They were all going after her, saying she should be fired.
I heard them.
Which is good. All right, Catherine, thanks for your great call. All right, up next, I'm getting more and more things flying across my radar tonight, including some reports I will read to you. Joe Biden is reportedly had a major health emergency in Vegas. Some people are saying he is in hospice care. I'm not going to say that. I'm just telling you what some of the people are saying. I will share you the reports from several different entities, okay? And I will tell you about that coming up next. The Crystal, do not go anywhere as the drama continues to unfold with Joe Biden. Is he incapacitated? Is he even able to run this country, even though he's a vegetable? All that's next. 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227 on News Talk 820 WBAP, and now on FM at 93.3.
Our president, Joe Biden, wanted to be here today. He is feeling much better and recovering fast, and he looks forward to getting back on the road. And I wanted to say a few words about our president.
Doesn't matter. Here's what we got. I wanted to make sure this guy is reputable, and it's flying around a lot. From Turning Point USA, from journalist Kyle Becker, from Jordan Schachtel, and I wanted to look up who he is. And one of the things, he's an investigative journalist and foreign policy analyst based in D.C. at the American Institute for Economic Research, among other things. And Ryan Fournier is also mentioning this from Trump Students USA or whatever. Anyway, here's what we have. It's possible that Biden had a very serious medical issue in Las Vegas. And here's the report from journalist Jordan Schachtel this evening. Several of the officers we spoke to said this was indeed being reported and acted upon as a full-blown medical emergency. Remember, listen. I'm gonna talk to you out loud here with what I remember too from all the scintilla that I follow, the granular stuff. And one of the things that was said over and over again, Friday, I think it was, from both Peter, from Peter Doocy, I think, but also I think it's his wife, is another White House correspondent. I can't remember her name. It'll come back to me in a second. But she said repeatedly throughout the day, Air Force One when he tested positive for COVID in Vegas. Remember there was that speech, some hen with some liberal union said, oh, Joe can't unfortunately make it today. He tested positive for COVID. She said that day, like not once, but like every hour on her reports, that Joe Biden in Air Force One flew so fast, came back to DC. It flew so fast that the airplane shook. They literally flew it back in record time in like 3 hours. Apparently, it should be a lot more than that. They went like insane speeds, and the plane shook. That was their emphasis repeatedly throughout the day. Maybe it's because he had a very serious medical emergency. Maybe it's because he's entering hospice. Let me read to you what the reports are. Quote, several of the officers we spoke to said this was indeed being reported and acted upon as a full-blown medical emergency, insisting a simple positive COVID-19 test would not have warranted such a drastic, massive response. Cheatle verifies Biden did experience a medical emergency in Vegas. The dossier, which is the blog he writes, obtained an independent testimony for over half dozen law enforcement officers who participated in the president's security detail and others who spoke firsthand knowledge of the incident that unfolded that day. We worked with, for this story, we worked with Turning Point Action to secure testimony of several sources and vet their legitimacy. Officers told the dossier, officers working on the detail the president described Wednesday as chaotic from the very start. Biden was already way behind schedule. Several sources said things went really haywire after he had been present at a famed Mexican restaurant, local one, called Lindo, Michoacan, where he was doing the rounds, shaking hands and greeting donors. Then suddenly, when he was supposed to be scheduled to deliver the Unidos U.S. speech, all hell broke loose. Several law enforcement officers on duty said they were informed over the radio that Biden was dealing with an unspecified medical emergency. Far from the case of the sniffles, this was sent out on encrypted police airwaves as if something akin to a 5-alarm fire had broken out. Our sources estimate it was easily hundreds of Las Vegas metropolitan officers and employees who heard the broadcast live, so curious media shouldn't have a problem with reporting the follow-ups to the story. Dispatchers made it clear this was much more than a mere change of plans because it set in motion so much of their on-duty emergency response apparatus. Dispatchers responsible for coordinating with the president's detail requested an immediate surge of law enforcement resources into the area, both to secure the vicinity and to expedite the president's movement. Biden has not been seen in public since that day. Continuing on, he's showing different pieces of this. And then Charlie Kirk from Turning Point USA said, got a weird lead in the story. And I saw this yesterday, but I didn't say anything. I got a call from a source in Vegas Metro. It was Joe Biden's trip was cut short. Not due to COVID, but however, according to this source, Secret Service informed Metro, which means police, Las Vegas Metro, that there was an emergency situation involving Biden and closed necessary streets so that he could be transported immediately to University Medical, which they began to do in earnest. Then mysteriously a stand-down order, and Secret Service informed Vegas PD they were going to medevac POTUS to Johns Hopkins, which they presume meant flying back east ASAP. Apparently, the rumor mill in the police department was that Biden was dying or possibly already dead. I didn't think too much about this lead. Seemed too wild to be true, but even given that Joe Biden has been out of the public sight for days and dropped out of the race via an X post, aka Twitter, I don't like calling it X, and his brother James indicated health was a factor. Remember? I told you, I played you that audio from CBS where, here, I'll play it right here.
CBS News had a brief conversation with Frank Biden, one of President Biden's two younger brothers, and here's what he told us. He said, I'm incredibly proud of my brother. Selfishly, I will have him back to enjoy whatever time we have left. He is a genuine hero. Country over self. It sounds corny in our cynical political environment, but he nor I are cynical. The goal remains the same: defeat Trump and continue the work that Joe has done. My hope is that our party rallies around this heroic act. We asked him whether he feels that his brother's overall health and vitality played a major role in this decision, and he says, in my humble opinion, absolutely. So a member of the president's family now confirming that the president's health was indeed a major factor.
And the Biden camp, or one of their members, immediately returned fire and said Frank Biden's an alcoholic. I'm not kidding you. That's what they say. He's an alcoholic and he's, horribly wrong and this and that. They literally attacked by saying he's an alcoholic. What is that? You can be an alcoholic and know your brother's dying. So, I don't know if this is true, and then Bill Ackman, the billionaire Jewish guy who's one of the top reasons why Harvard's president got fired, who said publicly, which is incredible, he's a billionaire liberal Jewish Democrat who flipped and supported Trump all of a sudden recently, which is incredible. He said if the president is ill, Ackman said, aren't the American people entitled to be made aware immediately? Everything about the Biden letter being released on Twitter, the digital signature, the endorsement of Kamala on Twitter, the cancellation of the meeting with Netanyahu, the lack of a photo op or scheduled public address to the American people suggests the president may be severely ill. The stress of recent events could sicken a healthy person, let alone somebody in Biden's condition. Now, I'm also seeing pictures, if you want to be aghast at how bad things are with this country, our country right now, Benjamin Netanyahu, one of our staunchest allies in the world, just arrived on our tarmac earlier today, and nobody greeted him at the airport. Biden, Harris, nor Antony Blinken, none of them greeted the freaking president, the prime minister of Israel. Can you believe this? Can you believe this? The hatred for the Jews by this administration is revolting to me. There is nobody there to greet the great Benjamin Netanyahu. Shame on you, bleeps. Okay? Second of all, New York Post reporting tonight. This is also incredible. Top Democrats threatened to forcibly remove Biden from office unless he dropped out, and they set him up to fail at the debate. Listen, they're actually saying it was a palace coup to stop the faltering president from seeking re-election, but stubborn Biden fought against it. They also made it clear the anger, the paranoia, the frustration Biden displayed as the elite circled around him and applied the pressure. Part of the elaborate strategy to remove him. By the way, it continues on. Calls from him to bow out mounted. Biden insisted he would continue, but party bigwigs then threatened to invoke the 25th Amendment of the United States Constitution to remove him. The New York Post, the second most subscribed to and read newspaper in the country, reporting tonight that they threatened to invoke the 25th Amendment against him. Do you think Biden is hiding something regarding his health? And is he on his deathbed possibly, do you think? Why do you think they're hiding him? Or do you think this is a coup, which it is as well, and I'll explain that next, a threat to democracy? Should Biden finish off his term or resign now? He should resign now. And do you feel Biden's staff, Kamala and the Democrats, deceived us on Biden's mental deficiencies? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Let's take Mike in Frisco real fast. Mike, you're on WBAP. Hello.
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Over the last 10 years, there have been times where I've heard reports about something, and then I always felt, in my lack of a better term, spidey senses, where it's just like, that doesn't sound right. That doesn't make sense, right? But then they go on with the news, and then you kind of get caught up to the rest of the news, but there's something within you that says it doesn't sound right. And here's the two things that don't sound right to me. Number one, the President of the United States, the most important man probably in the whole world, told everybody in the whole world that he's not going to run for re-election on a tweet. No official presidential news conference or anything. He just decided to do it on a tweet.
Right.
That just sounds so wrong. There's just something that doesn't make sense about that.
Yes, I agree. And I don't know if this is true, but now we have Chuck Colesto reporting tonight from his thing that he's hearing that he could be in hospice and may not make it through the night. I don't know if any of this is true. I'm not going to say it is, but it's incredible that they threatened him with the 25th Amendment, according to the New York Post tonight. That's amazing. That is amazing. And yet they were saying Trump's the one that needed it years ago, and here he is now, fit as a fiddle. I appreciate your call, Mike. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, you too. Have a great night. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. I'll get you the latest on all these reports that maybe he is ill tonight, and maybe Biden is in hospice, maybe he's in hospital. I have no clue. Do you think he's hiding something? Is he on his deathbed? Why do you think they're hiding him? Why do you think we didn't see him today? Is this a coup? a threat to democracy. I'm going to share the definition of a coup coming up next. It is a coup. And should Biden finish off his term or resign now? And do you feel his staff, Kamala, and the Democrats deceived us on his mental deficiencies? 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. I have the first poll in on swing states and on Trump versus Kamala, and it looks great, but I'm not sure if this is accurate. We'll see. It very well could be a landslide against her, but we don't know. We do not know. This could be a lot more difficult than you anticipate. She may be harder to beat than Biden. We don't know. Don't assume anything. 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227.
Is it a coup against Joe Biden?
It's sort of, yeah.
I think it is. I mean, look, there's a constitutional process, the 25th Amendment. If Joe Biden can't run for president, he can't serve as president. And if they want to take him down because he's mentally incapable of serving, invoke the 25th Amendment. You don't get to sort of do this in the most politically beneficial way for Democrats. If it's an actual problem, they should take care of it in the appropriate way.
All right. Do you think Joe Biden is hiding something regarding his health? Is he on his deathbed? Do you think? Why do you think they're hiding him? Or is this a coup, a threat to democracy? Should Biden finish off his term or resign right now? And do you feel his staff, Kamala, and the Democrats deceived us on Joe Biden's mental deficiencies? 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. It's incredible, the reports that are coming out tonight. We hear that it makes sense now, because now we're getting reports. I've shared with you, I've tweeted that report out from journalist Jordan Schachtel, investigative journalist, that the Biden team, the Las Vegas Metro Police, rushed him out. There were reports they were going to take him to one of the Las Vegas hospitals, decided against it, and that jibes with what happened next, because Fox News reporter, I can't remember her name again off the fly, but she's one of the White House reporters. She reported that the Air Force One flew back so fast from Vegas to D.C. that the plane shook. It made record time. That makes sense with a possible threat. In the report, they're saying they were going to maybe bring him over to Johns Hopkins. I don't know what happened. I don't know if anything happened. We do know we have not seen the man. Have you ever seen a United States president say that they are no longer running for office on a paper statement and not shown their face? Have you ever seen this before? Have you ever seen a sitting president announce that they're not going to run for re-election, even though they had another term, should they want it, and not do it in public? I mean, this is incredible. I mean, you could have done this, what's his name? Johnson, LBJ. He could have done that. He could have just put out a paper statement and sent it to had his people send it to the press, right? Even though they didn't have social media, you don't need it. You could just release a paper statement with his signature on it. People are saying it's a digitized signature of him, too. I don't know. There are some that have said they're not sure that's even him on the phone call today when he's like, hey, Kamala's great. I don't know. We don't know. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. The latest polling on this is Trump-Harris. This is from Polymarket, okay? And who is that? Unbiased election forecasts. All right. Anyways, Polymarket, latest presidential election winner. They say Trump 64, cackling Kamala 29. Swing states chances of winning: Trump 54-45, Wisconsin same thing, 54-45, Michigan 53-47. That would make sense with a narrower margin because the Muslims in that heavily Muslim state will vote for her because she is not a friend of the Jews, not a friend of Israel. As shown today when Bibi Netanyahu arrived and she didn't greet him, nor did Antony Blinken, nor did Joe Biden. In Arizona, they put Trump at 65-35. I guess they do like it's their, I guess they weight the chances. I'll look at this real fast. I've seen a bunch of Polymarket surveys over the past several months. And that's what they have. Anyway, continuing on, they say Nevada, Trump 65 to Kamala 35, Georgia 70-30, North Carolina 71-29. I don't know if that's true. I guess those are her chances. That's not actual polling. So I guess we'll see. We will see. Some people are saying, is it going to be the Reagan miracle of 1984? It could be, but also I don't know. I do not know. Nobody knows this. We can never be confident on anything until it happens. NBC News seems to think that Kamala does not have it in the bag at all. In fact, here's what NBC's pollster Kornacki says. Steve Kornacki says, quote, Harris will do better than Biden. The thought that Kamala will do better than Biden is based more on hope than any numbers. Here we go. Let's see. And here we go.
Not really any better. Take a look at this. This is the average of all the polls you're talking about there since the debate that tested Kamala Harris against Donald Trump. Trump 47%, Harris 46%. In this same set of polls, when it was Joe Biden, 47% for Trump and 45% for Biden. So the Democratic number on average goes up from 45 to 46. But I think it underscores for Democrats, they view this move as something that's going to improve their chances in the general election. That is based more on hope than it is on the numbers right now, because you go another level deep in this and you've got the favorable, unfavorable, basic impression people have of these candidates here. For Joe Biden, look, these numbers have looked like this for a long time. Very, very bad numbers. 36 favorable, 57 unfavorable. Again, this in average of polls over the last month. So what's the difference with Kamala Harris? Again, not much of a difference.
Oh, my gosh. Kamala is only like a couple of points better than Joe in favorability.
From 36 favorable to 38, 57 unfavorable down to 52, but that's still a majority of voters saying they have an unfavorable impression of Kamala Harris. Throw up Donald Trump's numbers there for comparison. He's at 41 favorable, 55 unfavorable. All three.
Dang, you guys. Well, anyways, let's see.
Three of these figures with majorities of voters saying they are unfavorably impressed by them. So again, from the Democratic standpoint here, they think Harris being reintroduced as a presidential candidate, getting a different look, they think these numbers can improve for her, both in the favorables and in the horse race against Trump.
He says that's based more on hope than any numbers. Good. Doesn't mean we can't lose this.